Article 1. Stonehenge. Source: ChatGPT. Stonehenge is a prehistoric megalithic site located on Salisbury Plains in Wiltshire, United Kingdom. It is made up of a series of huge stone pillars, some of which form a circle, while others are built in the shape of a gate. Stonehenge was built between 3000 and 2000 BC and is 4 to 5000 years old, making it one of the most representative prehistoric sites in Europe. The purpose of Stonehenge is still unclear, but researchers speculate that it may have been an ancient religious ritual site or an observatory used by early humans to observe astronomical phenomena. It is arranged in such a way that it coincides with the sunrise and sunset directions of the summer and winter solstices, and is therefore thought to be related to the religious beliefs, calendars, or astronomical observations of the people of the time. Stonehenge is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and attracts a large number of tourists and archaeologists every year. The structure and construction process of this site are still a hot topic of academic research and historical exploration. Source: Wikipedia. Stonehenge, located in Amesbury, Wiltshire, England, is a United Kingdom tourist hotspot that is visited by 1 million people from all over the world every year. Stonehenge is also known as the Circular Stone Forest. There are dozens of boulders in a large circle, some of which are as tall as 6 meters. It is estimated that the Circular Stone Forest has been standing on this plain for thousands of years. In 1986, Stonehenge, Avebury and related sites were listed as World Heritage Sites. A 2008 archaeological study excavated ancient ashes from the site as far back as 1958 BC, and archaeologists speculated that the site may have originally been an ancient burial site. Stonehenge, also known as Salisbury Stone Ring, Ring Row Stone, Sun Temple, Prehistoric Stone Table, Stone Ridge Stone Railing, Stocken Standing Stone Circle, etc., is a famous cultural temple site in the prehistoric era in Europe, located in Salisbury Plain, Wiltshire, England. According to the conclusion of radiocarbon dating, is built about 4000 to 2000 BC, belonging to the end of the Neolithic Age to the Bronze Age. The age of Stonehenge is still controversial. However, a small number of historians believe that Stonehenge was built during the Late Stone Age between 2500 and 2000 BC. The ancestors of Stonehenge builders may have traveled from Eastern Europe and east of the Eastern Mediterranean to the Iberian Peninsula, modern Spain, Portugal, north, and then across the ocean. Archaeological evidence shows that the construction of Stonehenge was completed in several different stages. Around 3100 BC, the first phase of construction began. The first is the construction of circular ditches and earthen platforms. Arranged in 2 rings of blue sandstone, it is the prototype of Stonehenge. Between 2100 BC and 1900 BC, a road to the central one was built. A huge Stonehenge was also built, with a huge stone as a pillar, and a horizontal boulder as a frieze on the top. It forms a ring with a diameter of about 30 meters. Over the next 500 years, the megaliths were rearranged in a variety of ways, forming today's pattern. United Kingdom archaeologists have unearthed the tomb of an early Bronze Age archer near Stonehenge. It was found that this man lived around 2300 BC, and it was around this time that Stonehenge formed in Amesbury, 120 kilometers southwest of London. As many as 100 funerary objects from the tomb, including gold earrings, copper knives, and many pottery objects, this man may have been a prominent figure in the area around Stonehenge at the time, leading some archaeologists to speculate that he was involved in the construction of Stonehenge. Article 2. Stonehenge was built at the same time as the pyramids. Source: ChatGPT. Stonehenge was built around the same time as the pyramids of Egypt. Stonehenge was mainly built between 3000 BC and 2000 BC, while Egypt's most famous Great Pyramid of Giza was built between about 2580 BC and 2560 BC. Therefore, they do exist in similar historical periods. During this period, human civilization was undergoing a transition from the Neolithic Age to the Bronze Age, and large stone structures were built in various places. Stonehenge and the pyramids represent architectural achievements in different proportions and forms, and reflect the understanding and belief of the people of the time about religion, the universe, the afterlife, etc. Both also show how early humans could have used their intelligence and labor to accomplish such a massive construction in the absence of modern tools. However, although both were built during the same period, their functions and uses differ. The pyramids mainly served as tombs for pharaohs, while the purpose of Stonehenge is not fully understood, but it may be related to astronomical observations and religious ceremonies. Source: thepaper.cn. Stonehenge was built about 4,500 years ago, around the same time as the Sphinx of Egypt and the Great Pyramid of Giza. Despite the differences, the common denominator is the fulfillment of people's desire to bring materials, objects, ideas together, so that they remain compelling and creative feats thousands of years later. But such monuments are by no means static, they are rooted in the changing religious, political, and social practices of the era. About 5,000 years ago, United Kingdom, Ireland, Germany and France began to build large monuments in the landscape, some of which were called henges. Henge is a term originally coined by Thomas Kendrick, director of the British Museum, in the early 30s of the 20th century to describe a series of ceremonial monuments made up of ditches and earthen embankments, often enclosing a sacred space in a circle or oval. Stonehenge is just a name, not really henges. According to Kendrick's definition, henges should have earthen embankments outside the ditch, but Stonehenge is the opposite. However, the definition of henges pales in comparison to the social and religious roles played by these monuments. Over the past few decades, scientific dating techniques and archaeological research have continued to clarify timelines. But research can't just talk about one Stonehenge. This monument has been built and revered for more than 1,500 years, roughly equivalent to 100 generations, and it is worth savoring this long period of precipitation. The first Stonehenge was built about 5,000 years ago and is made up of bluestones from West Wales. Bluestone is a blue ash volcanic rock that is specifically mined in the Preseli Mountains and then transported by sled, taking around 40 to 60 days to travel 200 kilometers from Wales to Wiltshire. The epic journey of these stones at the time also enhanced their value and symbolism. This monument, which served as a cremation cemetery, buried about 150 to 200 people. The analysis suggests that after the death of some people living in West Wales, the remains may have migrated with bluestone to become part of the monument. A number of objects from this period have also been found buried with the dead, including a fine mace made of banded gneiss, a rock with distinct color stripes, probably from northern Scotland that symbolizes the authority of several important religious centres in United Kingdom and Ireland. When the first monument to Stonehenge was erected 5,000 years ago, the surrounding landscape was already impressive. Around the same time, a large number of similar ritual complexes appeared in both United Kingdom and Ireland. As early as 3750 to 3650 BC, the track of the sun on the winter solstice was recorded by a huge circular structure just a few miles from Larkhill. This adds to the evidence that Stonehenge marked the path of the sun with the longest and shortest daylight of the year, and may have inspired the construction of the first Stonehenge using Welsh bluestone. About 500 years later, the monument underwent a major transformation. The bluestones were rearranged, the prehistoric megaliths were laboriously carried 25 kilometers away, and each massive stone was hammered into shape as columns and lintels, which gave rise to what we see today. Each task requires the collaboration of at least 1,000 people, and it depends on unprecedented cooperation, good planning, and patience on the part of society and religion. There will be dangers, fears, and failures, and there will always be builders who are constantly inspiring and innovative. When the pillar-shaped Stonehenge arose about 4,500 years ago, they embodied an important, summer or winter, solstice alignment in the structure of the monument, linking the monument to the cosmic cycle, an expression of religious and symbolic thought. At Stonehenge, the axis of the pillar in its center marks the location of the midsummer rise and midwinter sunset. In midsummer, the sun rises over the horizon and is framed by pillars called heel stones. In the middle of winter, the sun sets in opposite directions between the two tallest pillars in the center of the monument. Recent examinations of the surface of the pillars have shown that on special days, the stones corresponding to the sun's trajectory are elaborately decorated and associated with the fate of the community. In United Kingdom, Ireland, and continental Europe, monuments similar to Stonehenge were built 4,000 or 5,000 years ago. There are still about 1,300 stone carving circles. Unique objects, decorative motifs, and artistic styles also convey the religious and social customs of this period. On Orkney in the north of Scotland, stone circles and complex stone formations were built alongside magnificent mausoleums. In northeastern Ireland, the megalithic passage chamber Newgrange, built around the same time as Stonehenge's first monument, was designed to allow light to enter the chamber through the top opening, illuminating the long corridor with oblique light at sunrise on the winter solstice. The introduction of sunlight into the burial chamber on the turning day of day and night is a metaphor for regeneration, and there is no doubt that the cyclical nature of time, the journey of celestial bodies, and the course of human life are placed in the wider universe. In 1998, a well-preserved wooden circle appeared on the Holme waterfront on the Norfolk coast in eastern England. Because it resembles the wooden circle that once stood on Stonehenge, it is called Seahenge. Originally built on a salt marsh between land and sea, the C formation consists of 55 oak columns. A narrow entrance is aligned with the path of the sun. The rising midsummer sun illuminates the interior of the monument, its elongated shadow forming the shape of a large tree. In the array, an oak tree weighing 2.5 tons had its roots pointed towards the sky like branches. The tree is dragged here from elsewhere and secured with ropes made of honeysuckle vine, constituting the intention of the tree of life, where the reversal of the everyday world may bring another world closer to the confines of the wooden circle. A study of tree rings suggests that the C array was built in the spring and summer of 2049 BC, when stone tools were rapidly being replaced by metal, and the C array was the product of the nearly millennial tradition of wood and stone circles near the end. In the centuries following the rise of the great stone pillars, burying ancestors and valuables in sacred places became the main way to express spiritual meaning in United Kingdom. The area where Stonehenge was used to bury the illustrious dead is also home to one of the highest concentrations of surviving burials in United Kingdom. It was only later that people moved from building large monuments that required a lot of manpower to building small mounds that reflected the relationships between individuals, families, and communities. But in an ever-changing environment, Stonehenge remains the center of religious and cultural life. About 3,500 years ago, Stonehenge almost ceased to be perceptibly built and active. It was an important point in time that marked the end of Stonehenge as an active place, but only as a stagnant monument, and this continues to this day. There are also archaeologists who believe that by the middle of the 2nd century BC, Stonehenge was in ruins. But in any case, the monument remains a powerful symbol that captivates the imagination of modern people. Article 3. The role of Stonehenge. Source: ChatGPT. The role of the megaliths is still not fully understood, but there are several major theoretical conjectures. 1. Places for religious ceremonies. Stonehenge may have been a place of religious ceremonies where people in ancient times may have worshipped, prayed, or practiced other religious activities. Some archaeologists believe that Stonehenge may be related to ancient people's worship of ancestors, gods, or natural forces. 2. Astronomical observations and calendar rituals. The arrangement of Stonehenge coincides with the sunrise and sunset directions of the summer and winter solstices, indicating the possibility of astronomical observations. Many researchers believe that Stonehenge may have been part of an ancient calendar used to record and predict important astronomical events, such as seasonal changes, sunrises and sunsets, and moon phase cycles. This design may have helped people of the time plan farming, hunting, or major festivals. 3. Medical or healing facilities. Some scholars have speculated that Stonehenge may have been an ancient healing site, with some suggesting that the stones had spiritual powers or healing effects. Archaeologists have found bones with traces of injuries near Stonehenge, suggesting that someone may have come from afar in the hope of healing or performing rituals there. 4 cemeteries or monuments. Many tombs and human remains have been found around Stonehenge, suggesting that this may have been an early burial ground or monument. Some scholars believe that Stonehenge may have been a place of remembrance of the deceased, or a symbol of the spiritual center of early society, with a commemorative and ceremonial character. 5 tribal gatherings or social centers. Stonehenge may have been a place where different tribes or ethnic groups gathered at that time, where people held gatherings, festivals, or trades. Since Stonehenge required a lot of manpower to build, it may also indicate that it was an important site for early human society. Overall, Stonehenge may have had multiple functions, serving religious, astronomical, commemorating, gathering, and other purposes, and was an important symbol of early social culture and beliefs. Source: Story Studio. Many people visiting the United Kingdom choose to take a day trip from London in a radial way. The most popular Stonehenge in the day trip, as a World Heritage Site in United Kingdom and voted by netizens as the world's most disappointed scenic spot. Tourists have mixed reviews of whether Stonehenge is worth visiting. However, if you know the story behind Stonehenge and use your imagination, it will be a trip memory that will last a lifetime. In United Kingdom, there are many Stonehenge, from England to Scotland, but the most complete and at the same time the most visited is Stonehenge on Avebury. There are many theories about what Stonehenge is used for, and there is no 100% sure answer. Some say it's a temple, a tomb, and others say it's like an observatory and accurate record of the sun's time. The Celts of the British Isles believed that even if it was originally just a small stone, after tens of thousands of years of growth in the ground, it would have the healing powers of Mother Earth. They believed that if they rubbed the stones on the affected part of the body or walked around them, they would be able to transfer the disease to the stones and be cured. Unlike most prehistoric sites, Stonehenge's stone body is polished, so for prehistoric people, Stonehenge may have been a cathedral-like structure. At that time, the polished stones were much whiter than they are now, so when people approached Stonehenge step by step, looking at the stones shining in the sunlight, they felt a sense of pilgrimage awe from the bottom of their hearts. And the blue stones in Stonehenge are also believed to be the cure for ailment. Many people believe that Stonehenge was built by a group of Druids, but this is not a fact, but an imagination from the 19th century onwards. However, there is a group of Druids who settled in Britain before the Roman conquest of Britain, who worshipped numbers and nature, and who played an important role in the native Celtic culture. When the Romans arrived, they converted Stonehenge into altars for other religions, leaving behind a large number of Roman objects, such as coins, pottery, etc. Before the 16th century, it was widely believed that Stonehenge was created by the magician Merlin. Merlin was assisting King Uther, King Arthur's father, and when King Uther wanted to commemorate the prince who had been killed while fighting the Saxons, Merlin suggested to King Uther, "If you want to pay your respects to these people with an eternal monument, head to Ireland's Giant Dance, a huge, high-quality stone that, if placed here, will stand forever." Merlin then explains why he traveled all the way to Ireland to collect stones. They are mystical stones that have healing properties. Ancient giants brought them out of Africa's farthest coasts and settled in Ireland while living in United Kingdom. If the giants were sick, they used these stones in their baths, and this would cure all diseases. History of the Kings of Britain, Historia Regum Britanniae, 1136 AD, the author is Aurelius Ambrosius. King Uther heeded Merlin's advice and went to Ireland with 15,000 soldiers, and Merlin finally used his magic to erect the stone on the plain. In recent years, archaeologists have compared Neolithic human DNA from United Kingdom with human DNA from their contemporaries on the continent and suggested that these people may have come from Eastern Europe and east of the Eastern Mediterranean. The group moved from Turkey to the Iberian Peninsula, modern-day Spain, Portugal, and then meandered north. Around the 4th millennium BC, they arrived in United Kingdom, and it is likely that these ancient United Kingdom peasants were descendants of this group. While we don't know exactly who built Stonehenge, Stonehenge does demonstrate contemporary precision in construction. The junction of Stonehenge is made by the mortise and tenon tongue connection method. The stone below has a protruding part, tongue, inserted into the hollow, mortise, of the boulder above. The use of this technique indicates that the craftsman has matured to accurately calculate the size and curvature of each joint. The most common question that visitors to Stonehenge ask is, how did humans carry these large rocks thousands of years ago? The famous Norwegian group Ylvis, who became famous with the song The Fox, a remake of the Fox song or How the Fox Calls, has always been famous for their slang-free lyrics. Ylvis also wrote Stonehenge and the lyrics are constantly repeated. What's the meaning of Stonehenge? He also wrote. They were 25 tons each stone, my friend. But amazingly they got them all down in the sand. And they moved it, Stonehenge. And they dragged it, Stonehenge. And they rolled it 46 miles from Wales. My friend, each stone weighs 25 tons. But they stood up every single one. They moved stones. They pull the stones. Then roll over from Wells, 46 miles away. The two most important days of Stonehenge are the summer solstice and the winter solstice. On the summer solstice, the sun rises from behind the heel stone, shining the first rays of light into the center of Stonehenge, while on the winter solstice, it rises in the opposite direction. So, the question is, why the summer solstice and the winter solstice? For ancient farmers, sunlight symbolized life, and winter was undoubtedly a frightening season. Winters in United Kingdom are cold and long, often getting dark at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. In the face of the darkness of the night, the crops are growing day by day, and the crops are decreasing day by day. They must be full of hope that the warm days will come soon. After months of long, cold nights, it was not until the winter solstice, the shortest day in the Northern Hemisphere, that United Kingdom reached a turning point, and the days gradually became longer and the light returned. No wonder the United Kingdom poet Shelley left a famous saying, "Winter is coming, will spring be far away?" Article 4. Composition of Stonehenge. Source: ChatGPT. Stonehenge is made up of a series of different types and arrangements of boulders, which are intricate in design and complex in structure, and mainly include the following parts. 1. Sarsen Circle. It is a huge outer ring of sandstone, originally composed of 30 upright stones and 15 stone tops. Each standing stone is about 4 meters tall and weighs 25 tons. These stones are arranged in a circular circle and are placed above them to form a continuous stone ring that enhances the overall stability. 2. Blue stones. Blue sandstone is a smaller block of igneous rock, weighing about 2 to 4 tons, and has a distinctive blue-blue luster. These stones are mainly arranged in the inner ring and form a horseshoe-shaped arrangement. Archaeologists have found blue sandstone from the Priestley Hills, more than 200 kilometers away, suggesting that the stones were transported over long distances and may have had a special symbolic or religious function. 3. Trilithons. In the internal horseshoe-shaped structure, there are 5 independent pairs of 3-column structures, each supported by 2 upright stones supporting a horizontal stone, forming the shape of a door. These structures are the largest of the Stonehenge blocks, some of which are up to 7 meters tall and weigh more than 50 tons. The arrangement of these stones may have specific significance for the sunrise and sunset orientations, especially during the summer and winter solstices. 4. Altar stone. Located in the center of the horseshoe-shaped structure, there is a large flat stone block known as the altar stone. Although its exact purpose is unknown, its location shows centrality and may have been a place for rituals or other activities. 5. Entrances and passages. Stonehenge has a northeast entrance and leads to a thoroughfare on the periphery called Avenue. The road is about 3 kilometers long and leads straight to the Avon River. The orientation and arrangement of the entrances may coincide with the direction of the summer solstice sunrise, indicating the use of astronomical observations. 6. Surrounding earthen embankments and ditches. Stonehenge is surrounded by a ring of earthen embankments and ditches, which were built long before the boulders were erected. This section also includes small holes scattered around it, called Aubrey holes, which may have been once filled with wooden posts or placed urns. Together, these structures make up the grand design of Stonehenge, whose intricate layout and elaborate arrangement show a deep understanding of architecture, mechanics, and astronomy by the ancients. Source: National Taiwan University Science and Education Development Center. Stonehenge is a famous remnant of Stonehenge on the Salisbury Plains in southwest United Kingdom. Recent research by archaeologists at Bournemouth University in United Kingdom suggests that the design of Stonehenge may have been related to the return of the calendar in ancient times, with each white sandstone boulder representing one day of the month in the calendar. By looking at the position of the sun rising over Stonehenge, one can know what month, week, and day it is. To coincide with the return calendar, Stonehenge uses 5 horseshoe-shaped stones to represent an additional 5-day leap month, and the 4 resident stones may be associated with a 4-year leap day. Stonehenge is a famous Stonehenge remnant of the Salisbury Plain in Avebury, Wiltshire, southwest United Kingdom, and is a cultural expression of the Neolithic megalithic culture tradition on the Atlantic coast of Europe. According to past studies, the construction of Stonehenge was divided into multiple stages, and initially, 3100 BC, only a ring ditch and earthen embankment with a diameter of about 110 meters were excavated. In the second phase, 3000 BC, a ring of 56 wooden posts, now known as the Aubrey holes, was regularly erected within the inner ring of the ditch. The third stage, 2600 to 2500 BC, began with the formation of a circular Stonehenge on the periphery and a horseshoe-shaped Stonehenge on the inner ring of Sarsen, consisting of 30 boulders arranged in an arrangement, some of which have been lost. 2 heel stones at the entrance may have been used to draw the sun from the summer solstice, and the slaughter stone shown into the altar stone in the center of the formation. There is a station stone at each of the 4 corners of the rectangular ring embankment on the inner side of Stonehenge, which is also roughly dated to the third stage, in which 2 white sandstone stations are placed opposite each other, each on a round mound with a ditch on the periphery, and the other 2 are only set on the surface. The bluestone formation in the horseshoe is dated to the 4th stage, 2400 to 2200 BC, which was originally circular but later changed to a horseshoe shape. The most recent construction of Stonehenge consisted of 2 concentric circles, Y and Z holes, on the periphery, also numbering 30, dating from about 1800 to 1500 BC, for an unknown purpose. The entrance to Stonehenge, originally located in the northeast, is not actually aligned with the sunrise of the summer solstice, and the other entrance to the south is also unrelated to the movement of the stars. Several important locations of Stonehenge are used to indicate where the sun rises on the summer solstice and sets on the winter solstice, after the formation of the boulders. After William Stukeley, a famous United Kingdom antiquarian in the 18th century, proposed that Stonehenge might have a calendar function based on the above orientation, archaeologists continued to explore the actual function of Stonehenge from an astronomical point of view, most recently by Timothy Darvall, an archaeologist at Bournemouth University in United Kingdom. Research published in the journal Antiquity suggests that the design of Stonehenge may be related to the tropical year calendar. Timothy Darvall, referring to other regional calendars from the same period as Stonehenge and examining the white sandstone formation, pointed out that the layout of the 30 boulders is evidence of the return calendar used by the people of the region at the time, and that each boulder represents a day of the month in the calendar. The calendar at that time was divided into 3 weeks, with 10 days per week. The more unusual shapes of the 1st, 11th, and 21st boulders represent the beginning of the week. By looking at the position of the sun rising over Stonehenge, one can know what month, week, and day it is. In order to match the annual calendar, Stonehenge needs an additional 5-day leap month, 365/30*10 = 5, and a leap day every 4 years, of which the 5-day leap month may represent the 5 horseshoe-shaped stones at the core of Stonehenge, and the 4 resident stones may be related to leap days. Under this design, the sun rises on the winter and summer solstices in the same ring of white sandstone boulders, and the winter solstice sunrise can also be seen in one of the horseshoe-shaped Stonehenge crevices, representing the end of the year and the beginning of the new year. This solstitial alignment design also helps to calibrate the calendar, as errors in the calculation of days can be easily detected if the sun is in the wrong position on the solstice. Darville points out that this seemingly special calendar design was used in civilizations close to the same time as Stonehenge, such as the Eastern Mediterranean after 3000 BC and Egypt after 2700 BC, including the Old Kingdom, a phenomenon that also seems to suggest that the people in Wiltshire at that time were influenced by foreign civilizations. For example, the remains of the Amesbury archer found around Stonehenge may have been scientifically analyzed to have been born in the Alps and migrated to Britain as a teenager. It is hoped that future DNA studies and archaeological analyses will reveal more possible connections between British and foreign civilizations from the late Neolithic to the early Bronze Age. Article 5. The function of Stonehenge. Source: ChatGPT. The function of the megalithic array remains a mystery to this day, but archaeologists and researchers have proposed several possible uses and functions based on different evidence. 1. Religious rituals and spiritual activities. Many scholars believe that Stonehenge may have been a place of religious ceremonies, used for ceremonies and worship. These rituals may be associated with nature worship, ancestor worship, or the changing of the seasons, as ancient societies generally believed that the forces of nature were essential to life. It may have become a center for ancient people to connect with heaven and earth and communicate with the gods. 2. Astronomical observations and calendar records. The arrangement of Stonehenge is highly correlated with astronomical phenomena, especially during the summer and winter solstices, and the direction of the stone pillars coincides with the position of sunrise and sunset. Researchers believe that Stonehenge may have been an astronomical instrument used by early humans to mark the changing of the seasons. This is essential for farming, hunting, and daily life, as accurate knowledge of the seasons allows for efficient planning of farming activities. 3. Therapeutic and healing centers. A number of injured and diseased bones were found near Stonehenge, suggesting that someone may have come from far away to seek treatment. Some archaeologists believe that megaliths may have been considered by ancient people as materials with special healing powers and were used as healing sites. Blue sandstone, especially when transported from afar, may be seen as having mystical powers, and is therefore used in healing rituals. 4. Monumental buildings or cemeteries. Many ancient tombs and human skeletal remains have been found near Stonehenge, suggesting that it may have been a burial ground or monumental structure. Early societies may have used these megalithic sites to commemorate the deceased and as a spiritual residence for family or clan members. The monumental function may also be combined with religious beliefs, making Stonehenge an important symbol of their spiritual life. 5. Tribal gatherings and social centers. Stonehenge may have been a place where ancient tribes gathered, not just as a religious center, but also as an important site for exchanging trade and establishing social ties. These activities were common in ancient social life, and gathering near such a grand building may have strengthened the social bonds between different groups. 6. Symbolic cultural representations. The construction of Stonehenge required a lot of labor, suggesting that it may have been a cultural representation of early man's spirit of exploration of the universe and nature. As a symbol of culture, technology, and strength, Stonehenge may also have been a symbol of tribal or group glory and cohesion at the time. The function of Stonehenge may not be a single purpose, but a combination of multiple functions. It may have undergone changes in different uses with the development of the times, and has become a site with multiple meanings such as astronomy, religion, medicine, and commemoration. Source: Pansy Pancients. We can only guess the birth date of any building that existed in prehistory. Scholars are fairly certain that the construction of Stonehenge began between 3000 and 2200 BC. This back and forth is 800 years away, and United States history can run 3 times. But that's not bad, because we can't even say why Stonehenge was built in the first place. In the popular theory, there are more down-to-earth, ancestral gods, giant astronomical calendars, and some people say that it is an alien landing zone. But there's a version here that you probably haven't heard of, and that's that Stonehenge is a giant sound system. In ancient times, if there was a so-called large venue, it should look like this. Or, as the United Kingdom understands, this is the ancients who built a DJ's mixing room in an abandoned warehouse. Studies by scholars at universities such as Salford, Bristol, and Huddersfield have shown that the formation of the boulders produces sounds that are easily recognizable to the human ear. Presumably the prehistoric humans who slowly dragged the stones to their location also had ears. Bruno. Dr. Fahanda Bruno Fazenda is a scientist who has been working on the sound stage of Stonehenge for many years. He has a cautious view of the findings. So when I got in touch with him, the first thing he did was to ask me not to overthink things, because Stonehenge was probably not built for a single function. We should assume that Stonehenge was a pragmatic concept in the minds of the ancients, like a Switzerland knife. How many people can be dragged by so many boulders? The resources to support these people were certainly not small 5,000 years ago. Moreover, no matter where they lived on the earth, people at that time were probably not proficient in an art called not to be eaten by wolves. At that time, in order to make the most of their resources, Stonehenge was likely to wear many hats, and the main purpose may have changed several times during the construction process. However, the theory that Stonehenge was a prehistoric concert venue may explain a mystery about the composition of these steels. The smaller stones used in Stonehenge are bluestone, also known as diabase or spotted dolerite. Anthropologist Yen believes that the bluestones were dragged from about 200 miles, more than 320 kilometers, away, although it is also said that the bluestones hitchhibbled on the glacier. There are a lot of big rocks available not far away, so why would the people of the formation go to great lengths to get these special stones? As for the experience of Paleolithic musicians, modern acoustic knowledge can be unraveled. Scholars at the Royal College of Art in London have discovered that the Priestley Hills are a possible source of bluestones for Stonehenge, and that many of the bluestones on them have a characteristic of resonance when struck. When tested by professional percussionists, these bluestones can even be used as glockenspiels. The soprano iron organ is like a xylophone, which is considered a brother. Article 6. Boulder Sandstone, Grey Sandstone. Source: ChatGPT. The sandstone of Stonehenge, Sarsen Stone, also known as Grey Sandstone, is one of the giant rocks that make up the main structure of Stonehenge. Sandstones are mainly sourced in southern United Kingdom, particularly in the Marlborough Hills near Salisbury Plains. The sandstone forms the outer ring of Stonehenge and the large trilithons inside, which support and form the main structure of the entire Stonehenge. Characteristics and functions of sandstone. Material and strength. Sandstone is a well-crystalline, sedimentary rock with high density and hard structure, making it ideal for the construction of megastructures. This rock is resistant to weathering and erosion in the natural environment, so it persists in Stonehenge. Outer and inner ring supports. Sandstone forms the large outer ring of Stonehenge, consisting of 30 upright stones and erected transverse stones above them to form a solid circular structure. In addition, the 5-pair 3-column structure of the inner circle is also made of sandstone, which is arranged in a horseshoe shape to highlight the importance of the center of Stonehenge. Culture and symbolism. Sandstone may have had an important symbolic significance in the construction of Stonehenge due to its large size and difficult transportation. Researchers believe that sandstone was chosen not only because of its structural strength, but also because it symbolizes stability and strength, and is used as a core material for monumental or religious buildings. Boulder transportation and construction. Sandstone blocks typically weigh 25 to 50 tons and may require hundreds of people to move. Modern archaeologists have speculated that the sandstone may have been carried by wooden slides, rolling logs, or ropes, and mounds of earth were used between the stones to build the horizontal stones, resulting in the construction of these magnificent upright structures. Source: Wikipedia. Sandstone, the same as sandstone, is a sedimentary rock, mainly formed by cementing sand grains, of which the sand content is greater than 50%. The vast majority of sandstone is made up of quartz or feldspar, which are the most common components that make up the Earth's crust. The color of sandstone is related to its composition and can be any color, the most common being brown, yellow, red, gray, and white. Some sandstones are resistant to weathering but are easy to cut, so they are often used as building materials and paving materials. For example, the grains in quartz sandstone are relatively uniform and hard, so sandstone is also often used as a grinding tool. Due to its better permeability, sandstone can remove pollutants from the surface aquifer, which is more resistant to pollution than other stones such as limestone. Article 7. Boulder Bluestone, Blue Sandstone. Source: ChatGPT. The bluestone of Stonehenge, also known as blue sandstone, is another type of stone that makes up Stonehenge, which, together with the sandstone ring, forms the overall structure. These blue stones are mainly arranged in the inner area of Stonehenge, forming an inner ring and a horseshoe-shaped stone circle. Blue stone is unique in that it comes from a distant place and the stone's blue hue, which makes it particularly mysterious and ceremonial throughout Stonehenge. Characteristics and sources of bluestone. Material and color. Bluestone is mainly composed of igneous-type rocks, such as basalt, porphyry, etc., with a blue hue. These stones are hard and retain their form and color for a long time. The color of bluestone is particularly prominent in sunlight or wet, so it can have mystical symbolism in rituals and cultures. Distant origin. The bluestone is thought to have come from the Priestley Hills in Wales, about 225 kilometers, 140 miles, from Stonehenge. Transporting bluestone from such a great distance to Salisbury Plains is an astonishing undertaking that shows the extraordinary ability of ancient builders in transportation and construction, and also shows that bluestone may have special religious or cultural significance. Arrangement and use of bluestone. Inner ring and horseshoe arrangement. Bluestones mainly make up the two main structures inside Stonehenge, the inner ring and the horseshoe stone circle. The particular arrangement of these stone circles may be related to the religious or astronomical function of Stonehenge, especially during the summer and winter solstices, when the stones appear to have become an important component to mark the changes of the seasons. Religious and healing functions. Bluestone may have been given sacred or healing symbolism. Some scholars believe that bluestone has spiritual powers or healing properties, and may therefore be used as a healing material in Stonehenge's religious ceremonies. In addition, some diseased or injured bones were found near Stonehenge, suggesting that someone may have come here to seek treatment. Transportation and construction of bluestone. The transport of bluestone from Wales to Stonehenge was a feat of engineering. Modern archaeologists speculate that bluestone may have been transported via inland rivers and coastal waterways, and then transported using wooden logs, slipways, and ropes. Such large-scale transportation work shows the ability of ancient societies to work together and attach great importance to the construction of Stonehenge. Bluestones are expensive to choose and transport, so they may have a special symbolic meaning in Stonehenge, and may represent sacred, healing, or mystical forces in the universe. Article 8. Stonehenge, Altar Stone. Source: ChatGPT. The altar stone in Stonehenge is a special stone located in the center of the horseshoe-shaped structure inside Stonehenge. Unlike other stones, the altar stone is a huge rectangular slab lying flat on the ground, about 4.9 meters long and 1 meter wide, and is probably one of the most religiously symbolic stones in the entire Stonehenge. The stone was thought to have had a special purpose in ancient rituals. The material and characteristics of the altar stone. Materials: unlike the sandstone and bluestone of Stonehenge, the altar stone is green sandstone, a sedimentary rock with a high proportion of iron and silicate, and has a greenish color. This stone is not local and is likely to have been transported from hundreds of kilometers away, making it unique and precious in Stonehenge. Location and arrangement: the altar stone is located at the central point of the internal horseshoe-shaped three-pillar structure, directly opposite the main entrance to Stonehenge, a position that shows its importance. The stone's orientation allows it to receive the first rays of sunlight at sunrise, especially on the summer solstice, showing the close connection between Stonehenge and astronomical phenomena. The purpose and significance of the altar stone. Religious rituals and rituals. The location and name of the altar stone suggest that it may have been the heart of a sacrifice or religious ceremony. Archaeologists speculate that ancient people may have performed rituals such as sacrifices and prayers on this stone to worship gods, worship ancestors, or pray for the protection of natural forces. Healing and spiritual center. Due to the particular material and location of the altar stone, some scholars believe that it may have a healing function and was used as a central site for spiritual healing or divine contact. The combination between the blue stone and the altar stone may have enhanced the spiritual effects in some rituals, making them a place where early people sought healing. Astronomical symbolism. The altar stone can shine in the direction of the sunrise during the summer solstice, which shows its importance in astronomical and seasonal ceremonies. Ancient people may have used the arrangement of altar stones and Stonehenge to mark the changing seasons and ensure accurate timing of agricultural and ceremonial activities. Because of its central location, special materials, and possible religious use, the altar stone is regarded as the heart of Stonehenge, representing the ancient man's connection to the universe, nature, and the gods. Source: Public Television News Network. For the first time, the latest United Kingdom research has found that the altar stone in the centre of the World Heritage Site Stonehenge comes from the northeast of Scotland, not Wales, as originally speculated. However, the findings also lead to more mystery as to how the ancient people transported these monoliths to the south of England, 740 kilometers away. Located in the southwest of England, Stonehenge is about 5,000 years old and attracts more than 1 million visitors every year due to its special arrangement and mysterious construction purpose, and was declared a World Heritage Site by the United Nations in 1986. In the past, scholars speculated that the altar stone at the centre of Stonehenge came from southwest Wales, but the latest analysis points to the fact that the 6-ton monolith came from more than 700 kilometres northeast of Scotland, and may even have come from the Shetland Islands off the coast. Clark, a geologist at Curtin University in Australia, said, "For the altar stone, we can say that more than 95% of the confidence is that its origin is the Akadiah Basin." The latest findings were published in the journal Nature on the 14th. Since Stonehenge is not allowed to be excavated and destroyed, scholars use sandstone fragments from past archaeological excavations to analyze and calculate the age and original origin of the rock by understanding the proportion of uranium and lead in the composition. The next step for the researchers was to find out the exact original location of the altar stone in the Akadiah Basin. Pierce, a professor of geochemistry at Aberystwyth University, pointed out, the Akadiah Basin, where the altar stone is found, is a large area, so where does that area come from? Is it from the mainland? Or from one of the islands? The findings raise more questions about how such huge rocks could have been transported from as far away as Scotland to the south of United Kingdom in the absence of motorways and advanced transport technology. To this day, Stonehenge remains an important pilgrimage site for neo-paganism and Druidism, where worshippers gather each year to pray, meditate, and celebrate the solstice. Article 9. Stonehenge, Heel Stone. Source: ChatGPT. The heel stone of Stonehenge is an important stone block located outside the main structure of Stonehenge and near the entrance. It stands alone on a huge sandstone, about 4.9 meters high and weighing about 35 tons, and is lined up with the entrance to Stonehenge as well as the beginning of the avenue. The reason why this stone is called heel stone is because of the legend that its shape resembles a heel print. Characteristics and location of the heel stone. Materials: the heel stone is made of sandstone, the same stone as the main outer ring stone of Stonehenge. This sandstone is hard and durable, making it ideal as part of a megalithic structure. Location: the heel stone is located to the northeast of Stonehenge, near the entrance to Stonehenge. It forms a line of sight with the horseshoe-shaped arrangement inside Stonehenge, pointing to the position at sunrise on the summer solstice. This arrangement shows its association with astronomical phenomena. The function and meaning of the heel stone. Astronomical indicators. The greatest function of the heel stone is probably to mark the direction of the sunrise on the summer solstice. Viewed from the center of Stonehenge, the first rays of the morning sun on the summer solstice will rise from the heel stone, pass through the entrance, and shine towards the heart of Stonehenge. This phenomenon made the heel stone an astronomical indicator that helped people at the time to observe and record the changes of the seasons. Religious and ritual uses. Heel stones may have symbolic significance in religious ceremonies. Ancient people may have gathered at Stonehenge in the early morning of the summer solstice to observe the sun rising over the heel stones for prayers or celebratory rituals to commemorate the return of light. Such rituals may be associated with the worship of the sun god, the forces of nature, or the agricultural harvest. Navigation and directions. The special location of the heel stone may also have served as a directional marker, helping people locate the entrance to Stonehenge. It shows the main passage to Stonehenge and forms a clear clue with the avenue that leads people to the main structure. Legends and symbolism. The heel stone is full of mystery in folklore. It is said that the heel stone has a dent in the shape of a heel that is left by the devil's footprints, which gave it the name heel stone. This legend may reflect the mystical reverence of the ancients for Stonehenge and add to the stone's spirituality and sacredness. In conclusion, the presence of the heel stone not only had astronomical and religious functions, but also served as a marker that may have played an important role in the beliefs and rituals of early societies. Article 10. Carvings on Stonehenge. Source: ChatGPT. Carvings and notches have been found on the boulders of Stonehenge, motifs that, while inconspicuous, are of deep archaeological and cultural significance. These carvings include traces of stone tools, symbols, and animal figures, providing researchers with more clues about the construction process and ancient rituals of Stonehenge. Types and patterns of engraving. Axe and dagger figures. Many small carvings can be found on the sandstone, sarsen, stones of Stonehenge, notably the motifs of axes and daggers, which appear on several major sandstone blocks. The shape of the axe was symbolic in Bronze Age rituals and could have been a symbol of power or warrior status. The stones where these patterns are found are mainly concentrated in the outer ring of Stonehenge, especially those towards the entrance. Animal imagery. On some of the boulders, there are some vague animal figures, which may represent animal spirits or prey worshipped by ancient people. The motifs are more difficult to identify, but archaeologists speculate that they may have included animal figures such as cows and deer, symbolizing the ancient people's reverence for natural creatures. Traces of stone tools. Nicks and abrasion marks left by stone tools have been found on the boulders, which document the craftsmanship of ancient craftsmen. Since people in the Bronze Age and Neolithic used stone tools for carving, these traces may be related to trimming and polishing during construction. The purpose and meaning of engraving. Religious and ceremonial uses. These carvings, especially axe and dagger motifs, may be related to the religious rituals and beliefs of the time. Archaeologists believe that these motifs may have symbolized strength, warrior spirit, or connection to certain gods. Remembrance and symbolism. Carved motifs may also be commemorative, perhaps to commemorate important events, people, or symbolic signs of a tribe. In ancient times, such symbols usually had the function of ethnic identification, and may have been a status symbol for people at that time. Decoration and artistry. Although the construction of Stonehenge was primarily practical and ceremonial, the carvings show the intent of the people of the time to decorate the stones. These motifs may have been added sometime after the ceremony to add an artistic and cultural dimension to the monolith. The cultural background of the carving. The appearance of these carvings shows the thoughts and beliefs of human beings in the Bronze Age and Neolithic Age. For ancient people, the axe and dagger were important tools and symbols, reflecting the values of battle and survival in early society. These motifs give us a glimpse into the spiritual world of ancient humans and the multiple roles of Stonehenge as a religious, social, and cultural center. Source: Wikipedia. Stone Age axe carvings with daggers and cups have been found in tombs in United Kingdom to commemorate the dead, as well as carvings on the pillars of Stonehenge. Scientists believe that Stonehenge is a memorial to the dead. Laser scans of the stone pillars of Stonehenge by United Kingdom scientists found that there were carvings such as bronze axes on the stone pillars, but they could not be seen with the naked eye due to their age. Archaeologists have carried out local laser scans of 3 of Stonehenge's 83 stone pillars. They expect that complete laser measurements will provide solid evidence that Stonehenge is a memorial to the dead, especially with the hundreds of ancient tombs scattered around the area. Other theories suggest that Stonehenge is a calendar. On the morning of the summer solstice, the rays of the sunrise and Stonehenge form a neat Q, and this theory does not contradict the hypothesis of the monument of the dead that can be established at the same time. The sun may be part of this monument as a sign of value, or maybe the historical use of Stonehenge has changed over time. Article 11. Toorington Wall. Source: ChatGPT. The Dudington Walls is a prehistoric site in Wiltshire, United Kingdom, about 2 kilometers from the famous Stonehenge. This site is considered an important place of worship and habitation, with strong historical and cultural ties to Stonehenge. Here are a few key points about the Toorington Wall. Overview of the site. Structure and size. The Toorington Wall is a large circular earth dam, henge, with a diameter of about 500 meters, surrounded by a ring of deep ditches and earth dams. Inside, there are multiple circular structures, which may have been used for gatherings, ceremonies, or residences. Year of construction. The construction of the Toorington Wall was around the late Neolithic period, about 2600 BC to 2400 BC, which is similar to the construction period of Stonehenge, suggesting that they may have been the product of the same culture. Functions and uses. Sacrificial center. The Toorington Wall is believed to be an important center of worship, and archaeologists have found a large number of bones, pottery, and other sacrificial objects, suggesting that sacrifices were once held here. Residence and meeting place. The Toorington Wall may have also been inhabited by ancient inhabitants, and some archaeological finds suggest that it may have been used for community gatherings or large gatherings. It is speculated that people at that time may have held important social events or religious ceremonies here. Connection to Stonehenge. The proximity between the Toorington Wall and Stonehenge has led many scholars to believe that there is some cultural or functional connection between the two. The Toorington Wall may have been somewhat of an auxiliary site to Stonehenge, used for sacrificial-related activities, and may have been a meeting point for pilgrims and participants from further afield. Archaeological finds. Cemeteries and skeletons. Many buried bones have been found around the Toorington Wall, which included the remains of adult males and females, suggesting that it may have once been an important burial site. Utensils and pottery. Archaeologists have found a large number of pottery fragments and other artifacts, mostly sacrificial objects, in the area, indicating that important religious ceremonies were once held in the area. The current situation. The current Toorington Wall is a protected archaeological site that attracts many tourists and researchers. The cultural and historical value of the area is widely recognized and, along with surrounding archaeological sites such as Stonehenge, is an important window into the exploration of prehistoric United Kingdom. Research and conservation efforts on the Toorington Wall are ongoing to ensure that future generations are aware of this important historical legacy. Source: Epoch Times. Stonehenge on the plains of Salisbury, United Kingdom, is world famous for its prehistoric sites, while the massive ruins of Turlington, about 2 miles from Stonehenge, are well known. Perhaps Stonehenge is so famous that people ignore everything around them. According to a January report by the United States National Geographic Society, the ruins of an ancient village have been discovered in the Turlington area near Stonehenge in the United Kingdom, and scientists believe that the original villagers were the builders of Stonehenge. After years of research, the prehistoric remains of Toorington have long been known to archaeologists as the Dudington Walls. The 500-meter diameter perimeter wall is a series of wooden piles arranged in concentric circles, which may have been used by people at the time to perform some kind of ritual. Today, the remains of houses that once inhabited hundreds of people have been discovered. Isotope dating reality: these houses were built between 2500 and 2600 BC, and are contemporaneous with Stonehenge, 2 miles away. It is on this basis that experts suggest that the people who live in the houses in Turington are likely to be the builders of Stonehenge. Currently, 8 houses have been excavated in this original village, and 25 more are yet to be excavated. Of the 8 excavated houses, 6 have intact ground. Each room is about 5 meters square with an open hearth in the center and a clay floor. Scientists at the University of Manchester also found that 2 scattered houses on the west side of Turington were far from those on either side of a stone street about 170 meters long and 30 meters wide. Discovered in 2005, the stone road leads from a circular wooden pile to the banks of the River Avon. As early as the 18th century, Stone Street near Stonehenge was discovered, and it is possible that people travelled between the 2 buildings by river at that time, as evidenced by the corresponding location of Turington and Stonehenge. The Stonehead Street of the huge stone square points directly to the sunrise direction of the summer solstice. Stonehead Street in Durrington points right in the direction of the sunset on the summer solstice. Correspondingly, the sunrise of the winter solstice in Turlington, the stone gate made of 3 boulders in the megalithic array, is facing the sunset of the winter solstice. Scientists believe that Stonehenge and the Turington Stake Ring are closely linked. Parker Pearson, an archaeologist at the University of Sheffield in United Kingdom, believes that Turington corresponds to life, and Stonehenge corresponds to death. It is speculated that the buildings in Turington were built of wood, as the wood would slowly corrode. According to Pearson, this is both practical and symbolic. Wood comes from life, which may mean that human life cannot be eternal. The boulder is used to worship the dead and ancestors, perhaps a permanent memorial to the ancestors. Pearson also speculates that people may have had a grand celebration in Turington at that time, and it was a celebration of life. After a grand feast, the bodies of the deceased were transported from Stone Street to the river and down to Stonehenge. There, a memorial service is held to honor the deceased, and the deceased is cremated and buried. In fact, many United Kingdom have always believed that Stonehenge is a place to pay tribute to their ancestors. To this day, people often come here to hold memorial ceremonies. Article 12. Super Stonehenge. Source: ChatGPT. Super Stonehenge refers to an archaeological discovery in Wiltshire, United Kingdom, located not far from the famous Stonehenge, where a large number of buried stone structures may have been discovered through modern archaeological research. The size and arrangement of these structures may be beyond what we know about traditional Stonehenge, hence the name Super Stonehenge. Discover the background. Underground structure. According to the investigation of archaeologists, using techniques such as ground-penetrating radar, GPR, many buried stones have been found around Super Stonehenge. The stones are arranged in a similar way to the traditional Stonehenge structure, but on a larger scale, suggesting that ancient humans may have built on a larger scale here. Significance of culture and rituals. Researchers believe that Super Stonehenge may have been the center of cultural and ritual activities at the time, and that it was closely associated with Stonehenge. The structures here may be used for religious ceremonies, social gatherings, or other important cultural events. Archaeological research. Keep digging. Archaeologists are conducting in-depth excavations and studies of the site in the hope of revealing more details about these structures. These studies may help us understand the lifestyle, religious beliefs, and social structure of Neolithic humans. Affiliation with Stonehenge. The discovery of the Super Stonehenge has led to new reflections on the culture and history of Stonehenge and its surroundings. Many researchers believe that there may have been a broader social and religious network between these regions, suggesting that early humans interacted and communicated closely in this region. Summary. The discovery of Stonehenge has deepened our understanding of prehistoric United Kingdom, suggesting that the construction of Stonehenge and its surroundings is not just a single religious or ceremonial structure, but a more complex social and cultural embodiment. An in-depth study of this site will help shed light on the thoughts, beliefs, and lifestyles of ancient humans. Article 13. Mortise and tenon structure. Source: ChatGPT. Mortise and tenon construction is an ancient and delicate woodworking technique that is mainly used in traditional architecture, furniture, and crafts in China and other East Asian countries. This structure, which relies on the intermating of the woods without the need for nails or other metal connectors, is of high technical and artistic value. Composition of the mortise and tenon structure. Tenon. A tenon is a part of the wood, usually a raised part, like a small beam, that is inserted into a hole in another piece of wood. The shape and size of the tenon can be designed as needed to ensure the stability of the joint. Mao. A mao is a groove or hole dug in the wood that is specifically used to contain the tenon. The shape and depth of the mortise also depends on the design of the tenon, which often needs to be made precisely to achieve the best fit. Features of the mortise and tenon structure. Robustness. The mortise and tenon joint structure provides a high degree of stability and durability, especially in terms of load-bearing and seismic resistance, making it suitable for use in large buildings and furniture making. Aesthetics. The neat and metal-free appearance of the mortise and tenon structure maintains the natural beauty of the wood, especially in traditional architecture and classical furniture, and is often used to show the finesse and artistry of the workmanship. Detachability. Since the mortise and tenon structure does not rely on metal fixings, this allows woodworking products to be relatively easy to disassemble and reassemble, facilitating transportation and maintenance. Environmental friendliness. Mortise and tenon structures are considered an environmentally friendly way of construction because they emphasize the use of natural materials and do not require the addition of chemical glue or metal connectors. Common types of mortise and tenon joints. Straight tenon. The most basic mortise and tenon structure consists of one tenon inserted into a straight hole in another piece of wood. Diagonal tenon. The tenon is beveled and inserted into the diagonal joint, which increases the stability of the joint. Lap joint. Two pieces of timber are stacked on top of each other and are often used in the construction of frames or large structures. Mortise and tenon buckle. The tenon and tenon with a complex shape can improve the strength and stability of the joint. Fields of application. Mortise and tenon structures are widely used in traditional architecture, such as temples, palaces, and dwellings in ancient China, is resistant to natural disasters using wooden structures built using mortise and tenon technology. Furniture making. Many traditional furniture, such as Chinese tables, chairs, cabinets, etc., use mortise and tenon technology, which is not only durable but also elegant in appearance. Crafts. Many traditional crafts, such as wood carvings and ornaments, often use mortise and tenon structures to enhance their aesthetics and practicality. Conclusion. The mortise and tenon structure is an important aspect of traditional Chinese woodworking techniques, reflecting the wisdom and skill of craftsmen. With the advancement of modern technology, this technique is still valued in architectural and furniture design and has gained new life in contemporary design. The application of mortise and tenon structure not only improves the quality and beauty of the product, but also demonstrates people's respect for natural materials and the inheritance of traditional craftsmanship. Source: Wikipedia. Mortise and tenon is the abbreviation of tenon and tenon joint, which is a way of joining two or more components in traditional woodworking since ancient times. Among them, the protruding part in the component is called tenon, commonly written as bamboo shoots, and the concave part is called mao, also known as tenon, etc. The most basic mortise and tenon structure consists of two members, one of which is inserted into the socket of the other, so that the two members are connected and fixed. The part of the tenon that protrudes into the mortise is called the tongue, and the rest is called the shoulder. Mortise and tenon joints are an ancient form of bonding. One of the earliest examples of mortise and tenon structures dates back 7,000 years to the Hemuda culture in Zhejiang province, China. The underground wooden well found in Altskarbitz near the city of Leipzig, Germany, the wooden box at the bottom of the well is buried more than 20 feet underground, and has been preserved in cold, wet, oxygen-free conditions for thousands of years, and is 7,000 years old, making it the oldest known mortise and tenon structure wood product in the world. The Giza pyramids in Egypt have also been found in 2500 BC during the 4th dynasty of Egypt to build Gufa ships with mortise and tenon structures. The mortise and tenon structure is considered to be the same as pottery, a repetitively discovered invention from all over the world. In 2009, the Chinese traditional wooden structure construction technology declared by the Institute of Architecture of the Chinese Academy of Arts was selected as the United Nations Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity, which mentioned the mortise and tenon technology, and later Korea also successfully applied, causing controversy among Chinese netizens. But in fact, mortise and tenon structures have been found in prehistory around the world, such as ancient Egypt, but the technical uses are different. Article 14. Stonehenge mortise and tenon structure. Source: ChatGPT. The construction techniques of Stonehenge contain much of the wisdom of ancient engineering, including some forms of mortise and tenon structures. Although the stone of Stonehenge is mainly large stone blocks, sandstone and bluestone, and is not a woodworking mortise and tenon joint structure in the traditional sense, a similar concept does exist in its design and assembly to ensure stability and connectivity between the stones. Structural features of Stonehenge's mortise and tenon joints. Connections of stones. In the placement and arrangement of certain stones, the concept of mortise and tenon is utilized. This means that some stones are designed so that they fit together to form a solid structure without relying on additional fixing materials. For example, the joints between certain standing stones, i.e., vertical stones, and transverse stones, i.e., stones that straddle the standing stones, may have been specially cut and treated so that they can be tightly bonded and increase the stability of the overall structure. Load-bearing and distribution. Mortise and tenon structures distribute power through the design of shapes in carpentry, and the same is true in Stonehenge. The shape and arrangement of the stones has been carefully considered so that the weight of each stone can be reasonably distributed to the surrounding stones, reducing the concentration of local pressures. Stability. The overall design of Stonehenge takes into account the effects of earthquakes and other natural forces. Through the design of mating with each other, these stones are able to resist lateral forces to a certain extent, increasing the stability of the structure. Technical significance. State-of-the-art engineering. Although the builders of Stonehenge did not use modern construction techniques, the way they handled and arranged the stones showed their superior engineering intelligence. This chimeric technique, similar to the mortise and tenon structure, shows the deep understanding of the properties of materials and the principles of mechanics of the ancients. Cultural and religious symbols. The mortise and tenon structure was not only a technical issue, but also represented the pursuit of structural stability and aesthetics at that time. In the design of Stonehenge, such a structure may have been closely related to its religious and cultural significance, enhancing the site's function as a ceremonial site. Summary. Although the construction techniques of Stonehenge differ materially from traditional carpentry and tenon structures, the mosaic and stability embodied in their design and construction principles are similar to those of mortise and tenon structures. The use of this technique not only ensured the durability and stability of Stonehenge, but also reflected the ingenuity and creativity of the people of the time in construction and craftsmanship. Article 15. 10 Hz. Source: ChatGPT. 10 Hz. 10 Hz is a unit of frequency that represents a periodic phenomenon of 10 times per second. In different fields, 10 Hz can have a variety of different applications and meanings. Physics and engineering. Sound frequency. Frequencies of 10 Hz fall into the low-frequency category, which is a frequency of sound that is not normally audible to the human ear but can be perceived by other means, such as vibration. This type of low-frequency sound is often associated with atmospheric phenomena or mechanical vibrations. Electromagnetic wave. In electromagnetic waves, frequencies of 10 Hz are in the very low frequency, ELF, range, and these wavelengths are quite long enough to penetrate water bodies and the Earth's surface, so they are often used in submarine communications. Biology. Brainwave activity. In electroencephalography, EEG, 10 Hz is often associated with alpha waves, which are common in relaxed, meditative states and are of great significance for the study of attention and relaxation. Scope of application. Medicine. Some medical devices use frequencies of 10 Hz to perform imaging scans or therapy, such as some forms of electrical stimulation therapy. Music and art. In music, 10 Hz sound, while inaudible, can affect mood or evoke a certain feeling, especially in experimental music or soundscape creation. Summary. 10 Hz is an important frequency that has its specific applications and implications in fields such as physics, biology, engineering, and medicine. Although this frequency is not usually in our hearing range, its effects and applications are very widespread. Article 16. Hypnosis. Source: ChatGPT. Hypnosis is a state of mind that is often described as a state of deep relaxation and high concentration. Hypnosis can be used for a variety of purposes, including therapy, entertainment, improving mental health, or enhancing learning. Here are the main things about hypnosis. Definition of hypnosis. Hypnosis is a state of consciousness in which an individual is put into a state of relaxation and receptivity to advice through specific techniques or means of induction. In this state, the individual's attention span is heightened and their sensitivity to external stimuli is reduced. History of hypnosis. The history of hypnosis dates back to ancient times, with similar techniques in ancient Egypt, Greece, and Rome. The development of modern hypnosis began in the 18th century, especially with the work of Franz Mesmer, who proposed the concept of animal magnetism. Subsequently, James Braid scientifically studied hypnosis in the 19th century and named it hypnosis. The process of hypnosis. Hypnosis is usually divided into the following steps. Induction. Through verbal, musical, or visual stimulation, the individual is guided into a relaxed state. Deepening, further guiding the individual into a deeper hypnotic state, usually through guiding language to make them feel a deeper level of relaxation. Recommendations. In a hypnotic state, specific suggestions are imposed, which can involve behavior changes, emotion management, or pain relief, among other things. Regression slowly guides the individual back to a state of wakefulness, usually leaving them feeling relaxed and calm in the process. Application of hypnosis. Medical and psychotherapy. Hypnosis can be used to treat mental health issues such as anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, sleep disorders, and more. It can also be used to relieve chronic pain, help with smoking cessation, weight loss, and other behavior changes. Amusement. In recreational hypnosis, hypnotists usually perform some interesting hypnotic experiments that have participants perform various behaviors while hypnotized. Most of these performances are light-hearted and humorous, and are not therapeutic in nature. Self-hypnosis. Individuals can achieve relaxation and anxiety relief through self-hypnosis techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, etc., which can be helpful for self-improvement and managing stress. Hypnotic myths. Misconceptions and myths. Many people have misconceptions about hypnosis, such as the belief that hypnosis can completely control an individual or cause them to behave unwillingly. In fact, the effectiveness of hypnosis depends largely on the individual's willingness and cooperation. Effectiveness. Hypnosis has different effects on different people, and not everyone can easily enter the hypnotic state. The effectiveness of hypnosis is closely related to the psychological state of the individual and the skill of the hypnotist. Summary. Hypnosis is a complex and esoteric psychological phenomenon with multiple applications and potential benefits. Although hypnosis has a scientific basis, the understanding of its mechanisms and effects is still evolving, and future research may further reveal the potential of hypnosis in mental health and therapy. Source: Wikipedia. Hypnosis is a human physical and mental state involving concentration of attention, selective attention/selective inattention hypothesis, abbreviated as SASI, peripheral awareness, English, peripheral awareness, is reduced, and the ability to respond to psychological suggestions, English, suggestion, is enhanced. There are multiple theories that explain hypnosis and related phenomena. The altered state theory views hypnosis as an altered state of mind or trance, marked by a level of consciousness that is different from ordinary states of consciousness. In contrast, the non-state theory views hypnosis as a placebo effect, redefining interaction with therapists or an imaginative form of role-playing. During hypnosis, a person's attention and concentration are said to be enhanced, and their response to mental suggestion increases. Hypnosis usually begins with hypnotic induction, which consists of a series of preliminary instructions and mental cues. The use of hypnosis for therapeutic purposes is called hypnotherapy, and its use as a form of entertainment for the audience is called stage hypnosis, which is a type of mind magic. Hypnosis for pain management may reduce acute and chronic pain in most people. Hypnosis-based therapies for irritable bowel disorder and menopause are supported by scientific evidence. The use of hypnosis to treat other problems has produced different results, such as smoking cessation. The use of hypnosis as a form of therapy to recover and integrate juvenile trauma is controversial in the mainstream of science. Studies have shown that hypnosis of individuals may help form false memories and that hypnosis does not help people recall events more accurately. Article 17. Brainwave. Source: ChatGPT. Brainwaves are electrical signals produced by the brain during activity, which can be recorded and measured by electroencephalogram, EEG, technology. Brainwaves reflect the different states of activity of the brain and can be divided into several types based on different frequencies. Here are the main things to know about brainwaves. Types of brainwaves. Based on frequency, brainwaves can be divided into the following categories. Delta wave, delta wave. Frequency range, 0.5 to 4 Hz. Characteristics, most pronounced in states of deep sleep and relaxation. Delta waves are associated with the body's self-repair and immune function. Theta wave, theta wave. Frequency range, 4 to 8 Hz. Characteristics, often associated with light sleep, meditation, and creativity. It also occurs in states of relaxation and dreams. Alpha wave, alpha wave. Frequency range, 8 to 12 Hz. Characteristics, occurs in a state of wakefulness but relaxation, usually associated with quietness, relaxation, and light concentration. Alpha waves often occur when the eyes are closed at rest. Beta wave, beta wave. Frequency range, 12 to 30 Hz. Characteristics, associated with alertness, concentration, thinking, and decision-making. When an individual is in a state of high activity and stress, the activity of the beta wave increases. Gamma wave, gamma wave. Frequency range, 30 Hz and above. Features, associated with higher cognitive function, problem solving, and memory processing. Gamma waves are more active when doing complex thinking or engaging in conscious learning. Measurement of brain waves. Brain waves are usually measured by electroencephalogram, EEG, technology, a non-invasive detection method that captures the brain's electrical activity by placing electrodes on the scalp. EEG can be used to diagnose various neurological disorders such as epilepsy, sleep disorders, and neurodegenerative diseases. Studying the patterns of brain activity in different mental states. Monitor brain function during surgery or under anesthesia. Application of brain waves. Medicine. The study of brain waves plays an important role in neurology and psychology, helping doctors understand the neurological status of patients. Mental health. Changes in brain waves can be associated with mental health problems such as anxiety and depression, which makes brainwave monitoring potentially useful in psychotherapy. Cognitive science. Studying brain waves is essential for understanding the formation of human cognitive processes, emotions, and consciousness. Brain-computer interface. As technology advances, brainwave control technologies are being developed to control prosthetic limbs, games, or other devices that have the potential to change the way rehabilitation and human-computer interaction is done in the future. Summary. Brainwaves are an important indicator of brain activity, and brainwaves of different frequencies reflect the thinking, emotion, and behavior of humans in different states. The study of brainwaves not only advances our understanding of the brain, but also provides an important basis for advances in medicine, psychology, and cognitive science. With the development of technology, the application of brainwaves may be more widespread in the future, with far-reaching effects on all aspects of human life. Source: Wikipedia. Brain waves, or brain waves, refer to the electrical oscillations produced by the activity of nerve cells in the human brain. Because this oscillation is presented on a scientific instrument and looks like a wave, it is called a brain wave. The mechanism of brain wave formation is due to the synchronous neural vibration of a large number of neurons in the brain, which in turn produces macroscopic vibration activity such as EEG. To describe brain waves in one sentence, it may be said that they are bioenergy generated by brain cells, or the rhythm of brain cell activity. Every second, no matter what we are doing, even when we sleep, our brains produce brain waves like electrical pulses from time to time. Brain waves can be divided into 5 categories: beta waves, 14 to 30 Hz for the conscious mind; alpha waves, 8 to 14 Hz for bridge consciousness; theta waves, 4 to 8 Hz for the subconscious; delta waves, below 4 Hz for the unconscious; and gamma waves, above 30 Hz for focusing on something. The combination of these consciousnesses forms a person's internal and external behavior, emotions, and learning performance. Source: QEEG Concentration Academy. Brainwaves affect the brain's consciousness, which can be divided into 4 levels. 1. Unconscious, delta waves, e.g. sleepwalking. 2. Subconscious, theta waves, for example, sometimes I feel that I can't help it, unconsciously I can't help it. 3. The bridge between the conscious and subconscious, alpha waves, that is, relaxed concentration. The level of this wave is reflected in the mental state. 4. Consciousness, beta waves, which affect normal thinking and sensitivity to the outside world. Article 18. Shaft. Source: ChatGPT. A vertical shaft is a vertical shaft that is typically used for water extraction, mineral resource development, or underground engineering construction. Shafts can be used to provide water, ventilation, transportation, or as an inlet and outlet for a tunnel. Here are the main facts about the shaft. The type of shaft. Water well. It is mainly used for groundwater extraction. Wells are usually wells that revolve around a water source and can be pumped by hand or machinery. Mine. It is used to mine ores or other underground resources. Mine shafts provide access to the underground and are able to transport ore and workers in and out. Ventilation shafts. It is used to provide ventilation to keep underground air circulating. This is critical for mine and underground works to ensure the safety and comfort of workers. Drainage wells. It is used to drain groundwater and prevent the impact of flooding or stagnant water on the project, especially in the construction of underground structures. Methods of construction of shafts. The construction of a shaft usually requires the following steps. Planning and design. Detailed planning and design is carried out based on topography, soil type, and water table to determine the depth and diameter of the shaft. Excavation. Shaft excavation using drilling machines, excavators, or hand tools can be carried out with different techniques such as excavation, drilling or jetting, depending on the need. Reinforcement and waterproofing. During the excavation of the shaft, reinforcement and waterproofing are required to prevent the collapse of the shaft wall or the contamination of the water source. Installation equipment. Install equipment such as pumps, ventilation units or mine carts depending on the purpose of the shaft. Shaft applications. Water management. Shafts are widely used in agriculture and urban water extraction to provide a reliable source of drinking water and irrigation. Mining. In the mining industry, shafts are important access points and provide ventilation and drainage to ensure the safety of miners. Underground construction. In the construction of subway, underground shopping malls or underground parking lots, etc., the well is indispensable to provide convenience for construction and access. Summary. Shafts play an important role in water resource extraction, mineral development, and underground engineering construction. Its construction and management involve several specialized fields, including civil engineering, environmental science, and geology. With advances in technology, shaft design and construction methods have been continuously improved to improve efficiency and safety. Source: Baidu Encyclopedia. A shaft, a well-like channel with an upright wall of a cave, called a shaft, is actually a kind of collapse funnel. It is square, elongated, or irregularly rounded in a flat profile. The long strip develops along one set of joints, while the square or round shape develops along two sets of joints. The walls of the shafts are steep and almost upright, and sometimes the surface of the underground river can be seen from the shaft downwards. Article 19. Atlantis. Source: ChatGPT. Atlantis is a legendary lost continent first mentioned by the ancient Greece philosopher Plato in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias. The story of Atlantis is described in ancient texts as a highly developed civilization with abundant resources and advanced technology, but was eventually swallowed up by the sea due to moral decay. Characteristics of Atlantis. Geographical location. Plato described Atlantis as located outside the Pillar of Hercules, i.e., the Strait of Gibraltar, presumably in the Atlantic Ocean, but the exact location remains uncertain. Civilization characteristics. Atlantis is portrayed as an extremely prosperous society, with magnificent architecture, advanced technology, and a high degree of social organization. According to legend, the people here are known for their elegance and intelligence. Morality and decline. Plato's story emphasizes that over time, the inhabitants of Atlantis gradually degenerated, becoming greedy and corrupt, eventually triggering the wrath of the gods, leading to the destruction of their civilization and the sinking of Atlantis to the bottom of the sea. The influence of Atlantis. Literature and culture. The story of Atlantis has been the inspiration for many literary works and films, representing the concept of a lost civilization and exploring the pride and decline of humanity. Science and archaeology. Although the existence of Atlantis has not yet been confirmed by archaeology, many scholars and archaeologists have taken an interest in the study of ancient civilizations and looked for possible sites or clues. Occultism and conspiracy theories. Over time, Atlantis became the center of many occult and conspiracy theories, with many believing that Atlantis might be related to aliens or ancient technology and trying to find the truth about this lost continent. Contemporary interpretation. In contemporary times, the concept of Atlantis is widely used in a variety of cultural and artistic expressions, often to symbolize lost wisdom or forgotten knowledge. In addition, some geographers and historians believe that Atlantis may have been based on legends that arose from some real ancient civilization, such as the Minoan civilization or ancient Egypt. Summary. Atlantis, as a legendary civilization, has not only sparked interest in historical, archaeological, and cultural studies, but has also become a part of modern literature and popular culture. While the authenticity of its existence remains debatable, the story of Atlantis still holds profound significance for the thinking and exploration of human civilization. Source: Wikipedia. Atlantis is a mythical island nation proposed by the ancient Greece philosopher Plato in the mid-4th century BC. According to Plato, it was a maritime power that conquered much of Europe and Africa, starting with the main island beyond the Pillars of Hercules. After a failed attack on Athens, Atlantis was finally destroyed around 9600 BC as a result of a natural disaster called an unfortunate day and a night. Atlantis is a story in Plato's work, and like Plato's other myths, it is intended to illustrate previously established theories. The background of this story is controversial. While ancient historians and linguists almost always accepted Plato's inventions inspired by contemporary models, some authors doubted the true context of the story and made several attempts to find out the true location of Atlantis. The possibility of the existence of Atlantis has been discussed since ancient times. While writers such as Pliny the Elder denied the existence of the island kingdom in question, people such as Crantor, Posidone, or Strabo believed that its existence was conceivable. The first parody of this theme was also made in ancient times. In the Middle Ages, the myth of Atlantis was more or less forgotten until it was finally rediscovered and spread during the Renaissance, as European scholars re-understood the Greek language. Plato's descriptions inspired utopian works by various early modern writers, such as Bacon's The New Grand Western Isle. To this day, the literary themes of the myth of Atlantis are adapted in literature and films. Article 20. Architectural features of Atlantis. Source: ChatGPT. The architectural features of Atlantis are mainly derived from Plato's descriptions, and although the existence of this civilization has not yet been confirmed, the architectural features of Atlantis are often depicted in literature and legends as extremely spectacular and imaginative. Here are some common features of Atlantean architecture. 1. Magnificent structure. Large buildings. Atlantis is depicted as having magnificent palaces and temples, which are often much larger than the surrounding structures and are beautifully designed. Circular and rectangular structures. The center of the city mentioned by Plato has a circular structure surrounded by concentric circles and rectangles, forming a unique geometric layout. 2. Use of materials. Precious materials. The construction of Atlantis used a variety of precious materials, such as gold, silver, bronze, and other rare metals. The use of these materials not only reflects the luxury of the building, but also demonstrates the technical and artistic achievements of the civilization. 3. Water conservancy systems. Canals and waterways. The city of Atlantis was surrounded by waterways and canals that not only provided good transportation and trade routes, but also helped defend and supply water. Irrigation systems. Well-designed irrigation systems support agricultural production and demonstrate the high priority they place on water stewardship. 4. Decoration and art. Carvings and reliefs. Buildings in Atlantis are often decorated with elaborate carvings and reliefs depicting mythological stories, natural landscapes, and important figures of the civilization. Colorful tiles and mosaics. Brightly colored tiles and mosaics may have been used in the interior and exterior of the building, adding to the visual appeal. 5. Places of worship. Temples and altars. In the culture of Atlantis, religion and sacrifice played an important role, and the architecture contained specialized temples and altars dedicated to their gods. 6. Ventilation and natural lighting. Open design. Ventilation and natural lighting may be considered in the design of the building, using large windows and open spaces to keep indoor air circulating and bright. 7. Urban planning. Geometric planning. Atlantis urban planning may have been designed around geometric shapes, which made the city not only aesthetically pleasing, but also functional. Summary. Although the specific architectural style of Atlantis cannot be determined, Plato's description inspired the boundless imagination of later literature, art, and archaeology. The architectural features of Atlantis are often seen as a symbol of a lost civilization and represent humanity's desire for excellence and perfection. These imaginary buildings not only reflect human creativity, but also remind us to think about civilization, morality, and nature. Source: FIFEI History Network. The buildings of Atlantis are in concentric circles, separated from each other by ships. As we progressed deeper into the center, identity restrictions became stricter. The inner circle of the ring is the most important temple and reservation. The beauty of the city's architecture is musical. The gilded cuprow, which emits a harmonious sound due to the difference in wind and temperature. In the case of Atlantis, the third is one of its important features, the repetition of the lines 3 times, the complex of 3 similar buildings, and the 3 pyramids that make up the tower cluster. The streets on every floor of the city are arranged diagonally, from one corner of the waterfront to the other, and there are many intricate underground corridors underneath. The capital of Atlantis is Posdonia, Poseidon, which represents the essence of the greater Western continent, the epitome of culture, art, and craftsmanship. It is a monumental city and a model for other countries. The classic pattern of the legendary city is made up of a series of concentric circles floating on the sea, arranged from low to high in the center. The central part is the main camp, with a diameter of nearly 2.5 kilometers. The view of the ocean passage connecting two concentric circles allows you to see the other level of the city when viewed from the interior of the city, the inland sea area of Atlantis. On the right is a lighthouse with two metal sculptures supporting huge lights, with 3 flying cars in the sky and some stately buildings in the center city in the background. At the top of the staircase, the wings on the head of the sculpture are visible, representing life in Atlantean art. The overall design of the city is as much as possible to reflect the pinnacle of the arts, with the staircase leading to a comprehensive college. The splendid architecture in the heart of the city is astronomical. In the heart of the city, the Gilded Music Dome is home to planetariums and a number of other public buildings, and not everyone has access to the huge caves that dot the central city. Sticking to the entrance is the Taurus sign, as well as the man and the bull. The emeralds are finely carved to be transparent, and the city's main legal codes are written on it, translated into different languages and vernacular. The emeralds are placed in an underground room and are closely guarded, the most sacred place in Atlantis. In a valley not far from the city buried the king of Atlantis. It is a deep valley dedicated to the cemetery, and the tombstones record the lives of the people. Here not only officials are buried, but also artists. The valley is high above the mountains and is home to many extinct prehistoric animals. Article 21. Maryhill Museum, Washington. Source: ChatGPT. The National Museum of African American History and Culture, NMASI, is one of the national museums in Washington, D.C., United States, affiliated with the Smithsonian Institution. Focusing on showcasing and preserving the history of African United States and their cultures, the museum officially opened on September 24, 2016, making it the newest national museum in United States. Key features. Architectural design. Led by David Adjaye, the museum's exterior incorporates elements of African culture and is known for its copper grid shell, which is inspired by traditional African architecture and art. The shape of the building mimics the crown of Africa, symbolizing the richness and importance of the history of Afro-United States people. Exhibition content. The interior of the museum is divided into several main exhibits covering the history of African United States, including topics such as slavery, the Reconstruction, the Civil Rights Movement, cultural contributions, and more. Exhibits include artifacts, photographs, documentaries, and interactive multimedia displays that allow visitors to learn more about the stories and contributions of African Americans in United States. Key exhibits. The museum displays many important historical artifacts, such as the election symbol of the Oba President Ma, personal belongings of famous African United States cultural figures, such as writers, musicians, activists, etc. There are also plenty of audio-visual materials that allow visitors to listen to music and stories from African United States culture. Education and activities. The museum offers a variety of educational programs and activities designed to promote understanding of the history and culture of United States people of African descent and to encourage reflection on social justice and multiculturalism. Regular lectures, exhibitions, and performances are held to enhance community engagement. Social and cultural impact. The Maryhill Museum in Washington, D.C. is not only a hub of cultural resources, but also a place for social dialogue that fosters discussion of racial, cultural, and social justice issues. At the National Museum of African American History and Culture, there is an art installation called Stonehenge, a modern work of art inspired by United Kingdom Stonehenge and designed by artist Alvaa Alden. The installation is not only an artistic representation, but also a cultural symbol that explores the history and identity of African Americans in United States. Features of the Stonehenge installation. Structural design. The design of the installation is inspired by the traditional Stonehenge, but its forms and materials are contemporary, using different materials and techniques to present it. These stones symbolize the resilience and durability of history, and echo the cultural heritage of African and African United States. Cultural symbols. The installation is a reminder to think about the cycles of history, social justice, and cultural roots. It encourages visitors to engage in reflection and dialogue, understanding and valuing the history of African United States. Interactive space. The installation is not only a static work of art, but also a space that encourages interaction, around which visitors can gather for social and cultural exchange. Social significance. Through the form of visual art, the installation draws attention to the culture and history of African United States and inspires social dialogue. News. United Kingdom Stonehenge revealed. Scholar, the altar stone has been a long march of 750 kilometers. 2024/09/17 News. The origin of the altar stone in the centre of Stonehenge in southwest England has long been a mystery, but a recent discovery by a research institute in United Kingdom and Australia that the altar stone came from the Auchadian Basin in northeast Scotland, 750 kilometers away. But this raises another question. In ancient times, it was very difficult to move the 6-ton stone to Stonehenge, whether by water or by land. On the summer solstice in 2024, about 15,000 people gather at Stonehenge in United Kingdom to welcome the first light of the longest day in the Northern Hemisphere and watch the sun penetrate the altar stone. One of the world's most famous prehistoric monuments has been a mystery, and one of the questions may be answered: where did the altar stone come from? CO author Pierce said, "It's right in the middle of the Stonehenge monument, and this stone is where you stand on it and watch the sunrise pass through the other stones. So it's in the middle and must have been placed there as an important stone." A research institute in United Kingdom and Australia, the latest research found that the altar stone came from the Auchadian Basin in northeastern Scotland, 750 kilometres southwest of England where Stonehenge is located, and CO author Pierce said, "You analyze 50 or 60 minerals and get the fingerprints of these minerals in the rocks of different ages, and this feature tells us that this is the Auchadian Basin. So from the particles in the altar stones, those individual minerals, these age data, that's the characteristic." This result also surprised scientists. They used a laser beam to shoot into a crystal of the altar stone and then analyzed the gas to get this result. The team then compared the age of the stone with rocks from all over United Kingdom and highly determined that it came from the Auchadian Basin. This leads to another mystery: how in ancient times, a huge rock weighing 6 tons could have been moved 750 kilometers away. Study CO author Pierce said, "Whatever you bring here, whether it's by ship or overland, it must have taken a lot of effort. Some people think that it was not moved by humans, but may have been brought by moving ice, but the other school of thought that the moving ice should carry the stones to the north, which did not match the orientation of Stonehenge. Whether it will be transported by sea or land, and how to overcome the obstacles, needs more research to be revealed." British megalithic array adds another suspicion. 5,000 years ago, the origin of the altar stone is still a mystery. 2024/09/10 News. Stonehenge, a prehistoric relic in United Kingdom, is made up of huge stone blocks, and its origin and practical use are unknown. Recently, scientists have discovered an interesting new clue as they study the origin of the most important altar stone in Stonehenge. In the past, it was widely believed that the 6-ton stone came from Wales, but later research revealed that it may have come from the Orkney Islands in Scotland, which is known for its rich prehistoric sites. However, the latest chemical analysis has also disproved this hypothesis, confirming that the altar stone does not come from Orkney. The discovery came as a surprise to researchers, but it also raised expectations for finding its true origins. According to the United Kingdom newspaper The Guardian, Experts speculate that the mysterious stone may have come from elsewhere in northeast Scotland, but the exact location has not yet been determined. While it's unclear how the altar stone was transported to southern United Kingdom 5,000 years ago, its grey-green sandstone material makes it different from the other stones in Stonehenge, making it particularly mysterious. In this exploration, scientists are not only looking for the source of the stone, but also exploring the human society and construction techniques of the time. The stone symbolizes a giant monument to humanity 5,000 years ago, and with the advancement of technology, these historical mysteries are gradually being solved, allowing modern science to gain a deeper understanding of human history and the past. Stonehenge altar stone research, probably from Scotland. 2024/08/31 News. The massive altar stone weighing 6 tons in Stonehenge in United Kingdom has long been thought to have originated in southwestern Wales. However, researchers at Curtin University in Australia believe that it is actually from Scotland. Scientists from Curtin University's Mineral Systems Timescale team said that the chemical composition and age analysis of the minerals in the altar stone fragments found that they matched the rocks of northeast Scotland and were significantly different from the Wilskie rocks. The altar stone is a 50 cm thick, 5 by 1 meter high sandstone block in the centre of Weltershire's iconic stone circle at Stonehenge, which is thought to have existed some 5,000 years ago. Anthony Clark, the study's lead author and PhD student, explained that their analysis found that the specific mineral particles in the altar stone were between 1 billion to 2 billion years old. Other minerals are about 450 million years old. This provides a unique chemical fingerprint that shows that the stone came from the Auchadian Basin in Scotland, at least 750 kilometers from Stonehenge. He said. Since it came from Scotland, these discoveries raise the question of how such a huge stone could be transported, given the technical limitations of the Neolithic period. Study co-author and Professor Chris Kirkland said, "It was very challenging to transport such a large volume of goods from Scotland to England by land, suggesting that there may have been a sea transport route along the United Kingdom coast, which also means that United Kingdom had long-distance trade networks and a higher level of social organization during the Neolithic period. This discovery has great implications for historians and scientists to understand ancient communities, their connections to each other, and the modes of transportation." For Clark, it also has a personal meaning. "I grew up in Mynydd Priestley, Wales, where some of the stones come from," he explains. "I first visited Stonehenge when I was a year old, and now I'm 25 years old, and I've come back from Australia to participate in and make this scientific discovery. You could say I went around Stonehenge." This complete study of the Scottish origins, known as the Stonehenge altar stone, has been published in the journal Nature. Particularly, Stonehenge, United Kingdom. Stonehenge, located in Wiltshire, England, is a United Kingdom tourist hotspot, visited by 1 million people from all over the world every year. Stonehenge is the most famous prehistoric monument in United Kingdom, and the reason and method of its construction remain a mystery in the archaeological community. Stonehenge, also known as the Circular Stone Forest, is located in a place called Amesbury, about 120 kilometers from London in United Kingdom. There are dozens of boulders in a large circle, some of which are as tall as 6 meters. It is estimated that the Circular Stone Forest has been standing on this plain for thousands of years. Stonehenge, also known as Salisbury Stone Ring, Ring Row Stone, Sun Temple, Prehistoric Stone Table, Stone Ridge Stone Railing, Stocken Standing Stone Circle, etc., is a famous cultural temple site in Europe, located in Salisbury Plain, Wiltshire, England, built about 4000 to 2000 BC, belonging to the end of the Neolithic Age to the Bronze Age. The structure of the whole Stonehenge is composed of a ring of stones and a ring ditch. The diameter of the ring ditch is nearly 100 meters, and then about 30 meters away from the outside of the entrance of Stonehenge, there is a stone called Shill on the ground. If you look at this stone from the ring ditch, it is just the position where the sun rises on the day of the summer solstice, so some scholars believe that Stonehenge should be used by ancient people to record the movement of the sun. Several important positions in Stonehenge seem to indicate where the sun rises on the day of the summer solstice. And from the opposite direction, it is just good to see where the sun will fall on the winter solstice. In addition to the sun, the rise and fall of the moon seems to have been recorded. However, the moon does not move like the sun every year. It has a lunar calendar that lasts for 19 years. There are more than 40 column holes near the entrance of the Stonehenge, arranged in 6 rows, which coincide with the northernmost position of the moon in the cycle, so it is very likely that the 6 rows of column holes represent 6 cycles, that is, the time of 6 lunar calendars, and the observation and recording of the moon's movement for more than 100 years. But to date, no one knows exactly what it was built for. Some scientists believe that the circular stone forest was the center of ceremonies of early United Kingdom tribal or religious organizations. There are also some experts who believe that it is a place to observe astronomy, and that people are likely to hold events there when the seasons change. Scientists know that the stones used to build the circular stone forest came from Wales. But no one knows how the ancient Welsh people transported these dozens of tons of boulders to Salisbury Plains, more than 300 kilometers away. In June 2000, the United Kingdom public held the first summer solstice commemoration since 1984 in the circular stone forest, where the boulders lined up exactly where the sun rose on the summer solstice. Most of the people who commemorate the summer solstice at the circular stone forest believe in the wizarding religion of the ancient Celts of United Kingdom, and they believe that their activities are similar to the religious ceremonies held in the circular stone forest. It is even believed that the ancient Celts, who believed in multiple gods, were the architects of the circular stone forest. The age of Stonehenge is still controversial. But most historians believe that Stonehenge was built between 2500 BC and 2000 BC. In 1986, Stonehenge, Avebury and related sites was listed as a World Heritage Site. United Kingdom archaeologists have unearthed the tomb of an early Bronze Age archer near Stonehenge. It was found that this man lived around 2300 BC, and it was around this time that Stonehenge formed in Amesbury, 120 kilometers southwest of London. From the tomb there are as many as 100 funerary objects, including gold earrings, copper knives, and a lot of pottery. This man may have been a prominent figure in the area around Stonehenge at the time, leading some archaeologists to speculate that he was involved in the construction of Stonehenge. History. Stonehenge is a prehistoric site on Salisbury Plain, more than 100 kilometers southwest of London, United Kingdom. It is composed of a number of bar-shaped boulders in a circle. The age of Stonehenge is still controversial. But most historians believe that Stonehenge was built between 2500 and 2000 BC. In 1986, Stonehenge, Avebury and related sites was listed as a World Heritage Site. Archaeological evidence shows that the construction of the megalithic array was completed in several different stages. Around 3100 BC, the first phase of construction began. The first is the construction of circular ditches and earthen platforms. Arranged in 2 rings of blue sandstone, it is the prototype of Stonehenge. Between 2100 BC and 1900 BC, a road to Chuo was built. A huge boulder array was also built, with a huge stone as a pillar and a horizontal boulder as a frieze on the top. Configuration A ring with a diameter of about 30 meters. Over the next 500 years, the megaliths were rearranged in a variety of ways, forming today's pattern. The significance of Stonehenge. In United Kingdom tombs, some axe carvings with daggers and cups have been found from time to mourn the dead. There are also some carvings on the stone pillars on the megalith. Scientists believe that Stonehenge is a memorial to the dead. Laser scanning of the stone pillars of Stonehenge by United Kingdom scientists found that there were carvings such as bronze axes on the stone pillars. It's just that it can't be seen with the naked eye because of its age. Archaeologists have carried out partial laser scans of 3 of Stonehenge's 83 stone pillars. They expect to be able to provide solid evidence that Stonehenge is a memorial to the dead, with complete laser measurements. In particular, there are hundreds of ancient tombs scattered in the surrounding area. Some other theories suggest that Stonehenge is a calendar. On the morning of the summer solstice, the rays of sunrise and the boulders form a neat line. But this theory does not contradict the assumption of a memorial to the dead. The sun may be part of this monument as a sign of value. Or maybe the historical use of Stonehenge has changed over time. The legend of Stonehenge. Legend of the Giant. Legend has it that the plains of Salisbury were originally inhabited by a group of good-natured giants. Their favorite activity is to hold hands and sing and dance in a circle, and their joyful expressions and antics bring a lot of joy to the people, and the giants become the pistachios of the locals. However, in an instant without warning, the giants suddenly ossified into boulders, and their dancing movements also condensed in time, and they became a group of boulders standing on the plain. For a time, there was considerable support for this theory, because viewing the boulders from a certain angle did match the image of a giant holding hands. Legends of the Devil. Legend has it that the demon bought the stones from an old Ireland woman and used magic to make them float across the ocean to the Shrewsbury Plains and stack them in a similar shape. The demon summoned the villagers and asked them to guess the number of stones. When the crowd was at a loss and the demon was complacent about his cleverness, a monk stepped out of the crowd and said to the demon, "That is more than thee canst tell. That is more than we can tell. It means that there are too many of these stones to count." It turns out that this is the standard answer. When the demon heard the monk's answer, he was very angry when he found that the human being was also wise, and he lifted a large stone and threw it at the monk. Unexpectedly, the monk was so strong that he was not hurt by the boulder in the slightest, but the boulder that hit the monk's ankle made a small hole, and the demon left angrily, leaving behind a group of boulders, which is known locally as the Ankle Rock. Stonehenge, United Kingdom. Stonehenge is a mysterious ruin, with more than 1,000 ruins scattered throughout almost the entire region of England. These huge, towering stones were erected in the wilderness, at the foot of the mountains, and even in the swampy areas of the past, and the common feature is that the area is not a stone quarry. Like the stones of the pyramids, these stones were transported from afar. Thousands of years ago people seem to have had a way of dealing with stones, not only by easily carrying them, but also by cutting them as they please, placing them in exactly the right place. The builders of Stonehenge shaved the rough surface, and the sharp edges were also worn away into a smooth arc. They also delicately dig holes to allow the stakes to pass through. Modern archaeologists believe that these stone formations had some kind of calendar and religious purpose, and so far there is no direct documentation or record of this. But the results of archaeologists' research seem to shed some light on part of the secret. Stonehenge, located in the southern province of Wiltshire in the south of the island of England, is the most famous of Stonehenge. It is estimated to be more than 4,000 years old. Stonehenge is about 16 kilometers from Salisbury, and there are about 38 stones left today. Because the stone has been exposed to the wind and sun for a long time, there are many strange shaped holes on the surface. Stonehenge is arranged in concentric circles, roughly rectangular in shape, but standing upright above the ground, more than 13 feet high. And on top of the adjacent stones, there is another stone lying on top, or across two, or four, arranged in a peculiar pattern. The stone that makes up Stonehenge is a bluestone from Mount Pilesree in southern Wales, 240 miles from the current site of Stonehenge. According to some evidence gathered, these huge stones were transported by Ice River during the Ice Age. But who built it? Why was it established? No single school of scholars can explain it. The structure of Stonehenge is composed of a ring of stones and a ring ditch, with a diameter of nearly 100 meters. About 30 meters from the entrance to Stonehenge, there is a stone called Sill standing alone on the ground. If you look at this stone from the environment, it just happens to be the position where the sun rises on the day of the summer solstice. Therefore, some scholars believe that Stonehenge should be used by ancient peoples to record the movement of the sun. But in 1963, Hawkins, a professor of astronomy at Boston University, came up with an even more startling theory. He believed that Stonehenge was in fact an ancient computer that could predict and calculate the orbits of the sun and the moon. At that time, this theory did cause great shock and criticism, but the research of modern scholars found that his statement is becoming more and more correct. Let's take a look at what these scholars are reasoning. Stonehenge was built in 3 periods in prehistoric times, before and after almost 1,000 years. The first phase began around 2750 BC and is known to archaeologists as the first phase of Stonehenge. One of the most puzzling things about this period is the remains known as the Aubrey Cave. These caves are 17th century stone by an antiquarian John Aubrey discovered. The holes are located on the inner edge of the annular groove and are also in a circle, making a total of 56. The holes were dug and filled in immediately, and it was determined that no stone pillars had ever been erected in the holes. Why did you dig 56 instead of whole numbers? It's a headache for researchers. According to Professor Alexander Thom of the University of Oxford, after synthesizing other ring stone remains in United Kingdom, he found that the arrangement of these holes is similar to that of the pyramids, that is, they also use the golden ratio. Using the standard map drawn by the United Kingdom Environmental Protection Agency, Thom linked caves 4, 20, and 36 to reveal a pyramid with the top pointing south. The technical level and scale of the next 2 construction periods were improved, and it is clear that the people who built the stone pillar group were by no means an uncivilized primitive people. According to Hawkins, several important positions in Stonehenge seem to indicate where the sun rises on the day of the summer solstice. And from the opposite direction, it is just good to see where the sun will fall on the winter solstice. In addition to the sun, the moon's rising and setting points also seem to be recorded. However, the moon does not move every year like the sun, it has a lunar calendar that lasts for 19 years. There are more than 40 pillar holes near the entrance of the Stonehenge, arranged in 6 rows, which coincide with the northernmost position of the moon in the cycle, so it is very likely that the 6 rows of pillar holes represent 6 cycles, that is, the time of the 6 lunar calendars, and the movement of the moon has been observed and recorded for more than 100 years. 3 important periods. Between 3300 BC and 900 BC, there were several important phases in the construction of Stonehenge. Stonehenges from this period before 3000 BC distributed in the Irish Sea and the surrounding area of the Irish Scaltish Sea Route, are small but impressive, with a diameter of more than 30 meters, and a freestanding stone outside the circle, as if to declare that this place has been occupied. Around 2600 BC metal was introduced to the whole island of Britain, and hard chiseling tools were made, and Stonehenge of this period was more elaborate and perfect, like Stanton Drew in Somerset, Broger Ring in Orkneys, with a diameter of more than 90 meters. However, some of the other major stone formations are much smaller, usually only 18 to 30 meters. They have a special phenomenon, that is, in addition to the circular Stonehenge, there will also be an oval stone formation, the long axis pointing to the direction of the sun and the moon. The number also presents an interesting phenomenon in religion. We find that no matter how large the circumference of Stonehenge, the number of standing stones in each place has a unique number. For example, the number in the Lake District area is 12. 13 in Hebrides and 4, 6, or 8 in central Scotland. The Land's End region is 19 or 20, while the south of Ireland is 5. In 2000 BC the number of Stonehenges established by traditional methods began to decline during this last period. The overall shape is also not perfect, either in the form of a well-rounded shape or a twisted ring. The scale is also much worse than before, and some are even less than 3 meters in diameter. Does this mean that traditional techniques of refinement have been lost? United Kingdom's prehistoric Stonehenge turned out to be a cemetery. Since the Middle Ages, it has been the focus of the world and has caused widespread controversy. In the research community, there are even more opinions about its origin. It is widely accepted that Stonehenge was an ancient astronomical observation instrument. In addition, some people believe that it was a primitive idolatrous house, and others believe that it was built by life in outer space. The main body of Stonehenge is composed of dozens of huge stone pillars, which are arranged in several complete concentric circles, and the periphery of Stonehenge is a circular earthen ditch and mound with a diameter of about 90 meters, and the inner side is next to 56 circular pits. The most incredible thing about Stonehenge is the boulder in the center of Stonehenge, which is 8 meters taller and weighs an average of nearly 30 tons, but people are surprised to find that many of the 7-ton boulders are suspended on 2 vertical stone pillars. Stonehenge has amazing acoustic properties. In addition, some researchers believe that Stonehenge is actually a computer that can predict and calculate the orbits of the Sun and the Moon. For centuries, no one knew what Stonehenge was really used for, or who built it, but ancient legends and speculations add to the mystery. Archaeologists from the National Geographic Society of United States published research reports that the site of the largest Neolithic village to date has been discovered near United Kingdom's prehistoric Stonehenge, and believes that the hundreds of villagers who lived there were the builders of Stonehenge, and they probably participated in various ceremonies near Stonehenge and buried the dead tribal leaders under Stonehenge. Studies have also shown that Stonehenge is an ancient monument and not a Neolithic astronomical observation instrument as is commonly believed. Scientists say this is one of the most significant discoveries about Stonehenge research in recent years. Tests have found that the villages were founded around 2600 BC, 8 of which have been excavated and 25 more to be excavated. Archaeological evidence suggests that Stonehenge was built around this time. It is reported that many mysterious structures of mankind were built during this period, including the pyramids of Egypt. Mike Pearson, a researcher at Sheffield University in United Kingdom, said that when Stonehenge was erected, hundreds of people were already living in the newly discovered village, working and celebrating according to the season. The incinerated remains found at Stonehenge indicate that the site was a burial ground for the dead, and that the large stone pillars were merely memorials. It is likely that the local population buried the dead here, held a memorial ceremony for them, and erected megalithic pillars on them to express the praise of life and respect for the deceased. The ruins of the village were found within the Duddington Wall. Discovered in the 60s, the Duddington Wall is a large site located between Stonehenge and the River Avon, 3.2 kilometers from Stonehenge, and is believed to be an older ceremonial structure that was abandoned after Stonehenge was built. Archaeologists have been studying this for decades. The newly discovered ruins of the village are in the shape of a ring with a diameter of about 426 meters, surrounded by ditches and earthen embankments. Stonehenge and Duddington Wall are very different in appearance, but they echo each other in function. The former is a closed stone tomb for the dead, and the latter is a wooden building for the living. Researchers have found that the Duddington Wall is actually a wooden replica of Stonehenge. The circular patterns carved on the surfaces of both complexes imply that human beings must live according to the laws of nature, from sunrise to sunset. The difference is that the boulder array is built in the direction of the summer solstice sunrise and winter solstice sunset, while the Duddington Wall is built in the direction of the winter solstice sunrise and summer solstice sunset. Pearson points out that the Duddington Wall was clearly inhabited by humans, and that the circular stone circle of Stonehenge could not have been inhabited, and that it was one of the largest cemeteries in United Kingdom at the time, with an estimated capacity of 250 graves. In 2005, members of Pearson's Stonehenge Riverside Research Project discovered a gravel road that led from the Duddington Wall to the vicinity of the Avon River. There are some flat flints and steels on it. A similar road leads from the river to the boulder. In the same year, the expedition excavated the remains of wooden houses at the Duddington Wall, and there were 8 similar discoveries. Tests have shown that there are still 12 remains to be excavated. Archaeologists also found some Neolithic objects during the excavation, including stone tools, bows, arrows, etc. In the ruins of the village, we continue to find ancient artifacts such as animal bones, broken flint stones and patterned pottery, says Julian Thomas, an archaeologist at the University of Manchester. Conclusion. From ancient times to the present day, there has been a worship of megaliths and a yearning for mystery. On Tuesday, there was a video of Lao Gao to watch, which was really super unexpected.